told you, there is an easy way to create custom commands for your SharePoint list or libraries without any JSON gymnastics. With Quick Steps in SharePoint, you can create a custom action that shows up in your toolbar that can do things like send an email, start a Teams chat, run a flow, set a value, or even trigger an approval. Quick Steps lets you create one-click actions for your list or libraries. All you have to do is define what should happen, like setting metadata, calling a flow, and it shows up right there inside of your toolbar. No JSON or no hacks required. So let's see how it works. Let's look at creating a quick step for this SharePoint list where I'm tracking IT help desk tickets. I'd like an easy way to be able to quickly escalate one of these tickets if I notice there's an issue that I can't resolve. And that would be a great use case for a quick step because I could escalate this either via email or a Teams message. To create a quick step for your SharePoint list or library, select the Automate tab, go to Quick Step, and select Create a Quick Step. And there are two modes for a quick step. You can have a mode that runs for the current list, and the only option if you want to do that, so it runs on all items, is the Execute a Flow option. So that allows you to define predefined actions that will run for every item in your list. Probably in most cases though, you'll be using one of these 4 selected items for your quick step. So in our case here, we have a ticket. I want to escalate a specific ticket, so I would select that and then run my quick step. To set these up, you have 4 options, so you got to choose what you want the option to be. You can either draft an email, start a Teams chat, set a value, or execute a flow. So for my escalation, I really just want to start a Teams chat. So I'm going to select this option. And now we just need to configure what we want to have happen. So this is saying that we want to show a command that will, for a selected item, start a Teams chat with, and then we have to put in the name of who we want to start the Teams chat with. So I can manually type in a name, or we could use some of the column metadata like the assign to, which is what I'll choose here. We need to give the quick step a meaningful name so people know what it does. So I'll call this Start Escalation. And then we have a few things we can configure, like whether we want to include a link to the item in the message body, which is always a good idea. And then the last thing that we can configure here is whether we want to display this quick step conditionally or not. So we can either always allow this quick step, or we could do something like only show this quick step if, and then set a condition like if the priority is critical. So now we have this escalation. Let's click Create. And now it will take us to the Manage Quick Steps screen where we can see every quick step that we have for our list or library, because we can have multiple here. And this is where we can also go if we want to enable or disable a quick step. Now that we created our quick step, let's see how we actually use it. We chose the option to run this quick step for a selected item. So to use it, we'll need to hover over the item, select these 3 dots, and go to the Automate tab. This is where all of your quick steps will show. But notice it's not showing here. That's by design because the priority for this item is low. And in our condition, we said to only allow this quick step if it's critical. So that's good. This is working correctly. Now let's go to this one that is set to a critical priority. Click on the 3 dots and go to Automate. And we'll see that Start Escalation quick step there. And when we click it, it's going to route me over to Microsoft Teams and directly into a chat with that assigned to. And notice how it does carry over the item link, so we have that corresponding reference. And then I can add whatever context I need to add here. Now, one thing that you might notice when we talk about limitations of this is it didn't give me the ability to customize the message. So if you want to send some kind of pre-formatted message, that would still be a use case where you'd want to go and create a flow for that because you have way more control in a flow than you do these quick steps. Let's look at the quick steps again. We'll go here and create a new one and just see some of the other options that we have and how you can configure those. If we look at the draft and email, it's going to be the same situation as the Start a Teams chat. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to customize the body. It's just going to send a link to the item. We can fill out the subject and who it should go to, but that's about it. But again, that's what a flow is for and that's what it's good at. So we can always create a flow and add that in as a quick step. And for the set a value quick step, this one is fairly simplistic. You just define the column name that you want to set. So maybe I want to set the assign to, and maybe I'll choose the current user. So maybe I want to have a quick step that I can easily assign myself as the owner of one of these tickets. And we can actually append multiple of these, so we can set multiple fields at the same time. So if I'm assigning myself, maybe I also want to change the status of this to in progress. So we can add another column, choose the status column, and change that to in progress. So you can nest and combine these. So we'll call this one self-assign, and then for this, we'll always show this quick step, and then we'll create. So now we have our 2 quick steps. I'll go into one of these other ones, like needing this access. I'll click on the 3 dots, go to automate, and there's the self-assign quick step, and as soon as I click that, there you go, it assigns myself as the assigned to and changes that status to in progress. And let's just close all this out by looking at that last quick step option. So we'll go back to automate, quick steps, and create. And we'll see how this ties in together with the execute a flow option for a selected item. So when we want to set this up as a quick step, we need to be able to pass in the flow ID of the flow we want to execute. So let me show you how to get that real quick. You'll jump over to Power Automate and select your My Flows tab and select your flow from the list here and copy this GUID right after flows. That is your flow ID and you'll paste it in here. And if we go back to this flow, what I'm actually doing is creating a better version of that ticket escalation, because remember, in the quick step to create a Teams chat, we can't customize the message. So what this is doing is just getting the list item here, and it's using the post a message in a chat or channel. And this right here would be another benefit of going the flow route, because with the quick step, we can only send to an individual person in a chat. But with flow, we could send in a channel as a message if we want to. And we can customize the message. So as you see here, I have some formatting where I can put in the ticket name, a big bold heading that this is a ticket escalation. I have the description, when it was submitted, and a link to the item. So way more detail this way. So I've just created this flow, and the trigger is manual based off of a SharePoint list. So for a selected item in a list. And now we can connect this as a quick step. So I got the ID in, we'll give this a name. I'll call this Better Ticket Escalation. And then this header text and flow button text, what this will do when we click on it as a quick step is it still opens up that flow panel to the right-hand side. And in that flow panel, you'll have some header text and then the button text that you can define. For a header, I'll just put escalation. And for button text, I'll put send escalation. And for this one, we'll just say allow this for everything. And then we'll click create. So we'll go back to our list, we'll click on one of these items like this Power BI report one. We'll click on automate, and there is our Better Ticket Escalation quick step. And we'll select that, and then we'll see that panel open up on the right hand side. And we'll see our customizations here. This is the title that we put in, and the button says send escalation, which is what we customized in that quick step. So we'll just send this on, and then we'll jump over to Teams and check to make sure that this actually worked. So here I am in that channel where I wanted to post it to, and here is my formatted message with the ticket name, description, and when it was submitted. So there's your overview of quick steps in SharePoint. Hopefully you can find some use cases for this in your list and libraries.